I really appreciate a couple of things y'all just said. I love that idea about kids being resilient and asking and wanting more. I think just that assumption that every child wants to learn, they are curious and they are excited to learn new things. That's a great assumption to carry into our interactions with our young people. I think, Shanice, what you were saying about um, you know parents or guardians or family members being able to let teachers know, that's so important. And one thing I will say that I really applaud the way you all go forward is that you actively go out and seek that feedback. And I think that what you're saying is even more important, to be able to help families understand, like, it is well within your right to go and to ask questions or to demand that your child's education is good, that the school or the teachers are being responsive and understand the situation, that communication. Because a lot of the times, I think everyone knows, you know that doesn't really actually always happen. The schools aren't always reaching out, aren't really checking in, and aren't, for whatever reason. But everyone has a hard job. I'm not here to give everyone a hard time, but a little bit, right? We want to make sure, like, oh, well, our kids deserve the best. Like, they do deserve the best, of course they do. So I appreciate that. And just thinking about how important it is to, like, help families understand, like, yeah, heck yeah, you can call your teacher and you can call the school and you can ask for something to be better if it's not working. That's important to do. But I wanted to ask, what you were just showing about the buffalo harvest. That's a really cool example of the project-based learning, which is a kind of a hot, cool thing going on in the education world. But I mean, seems so natural, so amazing of a way of teaching, a very seemingly maybe traditional way of teaching as well. Can you talk a little bit more about project-based learning and maybe a little bit more about the Kakanka harvest, of how you intend to continue to do that with your students as the school goes on?
Yeah, our we jumped into this one. We had, some of us had done this before, so we jumped in and had some pictures that were from previous buffalo kills, and some pictures we found on the internet, and some that we had drawn. So we were able to show parents what was going on. So we want to be able to teach students in problem solving and in working through ways of life, that there's always steps to what needs to get done. So this is one thing we're trying to get across to our students at a very young age, so that they are able to piece things together and take the knowledge that they need to be grasping onto, being more receptive to. That we're trying to cultivate a learner who's going to ask questions, who's going to want to know the answer. And in fact, if there's several different answers, they want to know what comes out about at the end of it. So as we work on this project, we see how the whole picture, the whole scope of what's going on, and then we're able to take it apart and put it into categories so that students are understanding what category is all about. So we made posters with them. We had Spookishni, which is being more receptive. Students are gaining knowledge about how to be resourceful when it comes to the buffalo kill. What's the meat and talo, wahampi and talo are put in a different category, and so we're able to take those parts, freeze them. Some is made into bapa, the traditional bapa, the meat cutting and drying. And then the bones are taken to some more people who are experts in the ways of making tools and other items that it could be used. And then the last part is the spiritual part of what we've done. So in asking before the buffalo kill, they're asking for guidance from the Wichashawaka of the tribe. So they're able to get some guidance, and Daya Wonglake, they're able to kind of see what needs to be done on their part so everything's done correctly. So there's these three categories that our students learn about. So we're sure not to miss something. And reteach from that, so that steps are learned, and then pretty soon we're able to see an end product of that. So we have some surveys for parents. They're not long surveys. Our surveys aren't very long. A couple of questions, maybe one, two, probably. And so we can get a full scope of what parents think of what their children are learning. They're very proud of what they've put together in this particular project. So we're going to go on to the next one pretty soon here. So we're getting ready for that.
I'd also like to note that because of the Wolokota project, some of our students even got to go out, and because they harvested a buffalo just recently, some of our students got to go out and like witness it firsthand, exactly what they were doing, how they cut the meat, and all those kinds of things. So we also allowed those students to build on the knowledge that they already got to witness. So allowing them to talk about any of their experiences, or like, I think a lot of our students have like buffalo skulls in their house, and they were able to see that and like, hey, I have one on my wall. So like, bringing it back to like already things that they know, and just like digging a little bit deeper so that they can learn just a little bit more and be able to, hopefully next week, we're hoping that they can present some of that knowledge. And we're going to record some videos and hopefully get some of those posted on Facebook as well, so you guys can see some of the end product of that. Hopefully they'll be able to tell some of their relatives or some of the people out there some of the steps that they've learned on the buffalo harvest, and the different parts of the harvest that you can take and use to make tools or to eat, or that you can use for spiritual use. So we've been working on that for the past week, and we're going to work on it again next week, and then hopefully we'll start a new project come January.
Man, I love that. It almost seems like those kind of projects are too fun to do in school. You know, in a regular school, you wouldn't normally see stuff like that, but you don't think about the lessons that you actually learn from projects like that. And there's so much knowledge that you gain by doing those types of projects. I just want to point out one thing that I love, that every time you guys talk about the students, you talk about the parents as well, and how you all just work as a team. And by doing that, it just creates an amazing environment that these kids need. You know, they need people to work with them, the parents, the teachers. You even have Sage, who is the big boss, but he's like front line talking to everybody, talking with the parents. So I love that. But since we're giving updates to everybody who's watching, can you just tell us, you know, the progress that the school has made, like, I guess in the sense of how many words do the kids know, or what have they learned up until this point?
I think that's a survey. We've been sending surveys out because we're monitoring what our students were learning by the stuff that they're able to do at home, and the little projects that we're able to send home with them. And Shanice does one-on-one with students, so she's able to really track what they're doing with that. The data is collected by another worker. He's not here today, but he should be. Mr. Sawyer, he tracks a lot of the data for us, and he's able to keep track of that. We also have parents that we ask. See, the surveys are to help us really get to know parents and how they perceive how their children are learning. So we're as we finish this project here, there's 18 words on there that students were able to learn about. In me, I was counting them. So Shanice does also math, and we're able to learn a lot of words in math. She has little stories that she shows the students, and a lot of it's all written in Lakota. It's all said in Lakota. So in time, they're going to learn how to speak, say sentences and talk, and we're getting to not just use words in isolation like colors or numbers. We're using them in words. So every week there's more they're adding on to the sentences the words that they're learning per sentence. So so far it's moving slowly, but we need to go over stuff and go over again. And they're young, so sometimes they kind of forget about something, and then we bring it up and they remember. So I'm glad for that. I suppose you could say like riding a bike. You get in and start talking, and you think about it and it comes back to you. So it's wonderful to have little kids that bright-eyed, asking questions and have that want. So glad for parents that have that and given that to them.
I wouldn't say we've written down every word that they would know, so we don't have like a full count, but they've made so much progress in this whole year. Like right now in the mornings we do a check-in and it's all in Lakota, so like they tell us if they're feeling yokipi or chante mashicha, or like they tell us how they're feeling in the morning and they know those words. Or we also ask them like, how is it outside on Betty Dokcha, so they know those words as well, like it's osni out today, or
Wahiha, the snowing, or today was it was foggy out. Osni, Khate is windy. So just by seeing the picture, they're learning how to say that word. So it's becoming a lot easier for them to really start telling Shanice what the day is like for them. So.
And then we are counting today. We counted all the way up to 50 in Lakota. So they every day they count. And so I know, like, I was talking with a sibling from one of the students and he was like, I don't even know how to count to 20. So that's really impressive. And we, like Jackie said, we read all of our books in Lakota. And so I think just slowly they're picking up a lot of those words and they know it, like, and even some of their thought processes, I think, are becoming more Lakota inspired, because now when we see something big, they don't say big, they know it's like, it's Tonka. So, I mean, I think it's just, like Jackie said, it's kind of a slow process. I'm sure if you guys ever learned a language, you know how it is. And I think, so I don't know exactly how many words they know, but from the day one when they were speaking mostly English to now, where most of our morning session, I would say, in Lakota, I think it's made such a big difference.
That is super cool. How's it? Go ahead, Toy.
Our language is gender based, so our boys speak a little different. The ending is different, just like with the girls. And so I remember teaching in high school, and I'm always telling them, "We say Wakanyeja," and they said, "What is that?" Don't talk like a wea, okay? So they're okay. So I can't say that today because they're just now getting their feet wet with learning how to say correctly what males say and what females say. So first of all, the respect comes in there, and we have other things planned. There's so much to talk about, so much we got planned, and we're gonna do a lot more things down the road. So we're glad for that.
I was gonna ask one of the pieces I have to ask about. So both Jillian and I have definitely done some language learning classes, different people in the community. Alan Wilson, one of the people who really has just taken it on himself to try and do some classes, obviously through the college. There's just all kinds of different opportunities. But even if you were able to work with the students in person and they were, hearing and speaking Lakota all the time during the day, something you said to me the other day was, kids will speak whatever language they'll get a response in. So you're saying if they speak to someone in Lakota but nobody responds, then they'll switch to English. And if they get a response in English, then that's what they'll speak in. So it seems like then one of the questions that is so hard is how do just everyday people, like me or like Shanice or Jillian, how do we start participating and learning in a way that will be helpful for engaging with these these young people and encouraging for them so that when they do speak to us, we can respond and be encouraging in that way. What would you suggest for the rest of us out here?
Some of the items that we had sent home with parents, to parents, was meant for them. So in conversation, we had written down what asking questions, responses to what their children might be asking. So on the line of our kids asking questions, parents are able to give an answer back to them. So we want the parents to be able to have a conversation with these students as they get home. How was your day? You know, what happened today, or what are you planning on doing? What did you work on? And just different things. What are you cooking for supper? What are you reading? Just different things that our students are beginning to ask questions to their families. At least they're able to give responses. And at the same time, they're learning how to speak. They're such short sentences, but they're a good response to the answers that their students are asking. So that's one thing that we wanted to help with students or parents, because they've been asking about that. So that's a way we're helping them to be able to speak with their student as they're learning more about asking bigger questions. So.
I think an important thing to note on that is that Jackie and Sage had worked specifically on phrases and questions that we ask our children and ask each other all the time. Like, I think it's just a matter of like incorporating, maybe today it's one question that you might ask all the time. Are you hungry? You know, just translating that and using that phrase that you probably say all the time to like your partner or to your children or to whoever you live with. You know, it's almost dinner time. And so just using those common phrases and trying to switch them out, I think can be a good way to start. That's what we tried to do, at least.
Yeah, I know that's something we're really trying to do in our household. I've always had this fear of saying it incorrectly, so I don't say it at all. But I've been working on that personally. So I think we're all going to do our best to just try harder. But we are coming to the end of the show already. It's 12:53. These conversations go by so quickly. I wish we could talk longer. But I do have one last question. So I think at the beginning, I heard a mention of a little bit of fear that maybe, you know, there won't be enough money for this school, or we don't know how long this school is going to stay open. And, you know, that's always questionable with organizations like this. So is there a way that people can donate? Is there some ways that people could, I don't know, volunteer their time? What can the public do to help support this school?
Yeah, we have a website just like the whole Suchongu CDC. You can donate directly to that website. Or a big thing that we're working towards is getting charter school legislation, and so that our school would become part of the charter school system. And so that's a good way to kind of support us, is trying to push that. I think the South Dakota Education Coalition is working hard to get that pushed forward. So maybe even talking with your own school district, like, do you support charter school legislation? You know, just getting more conversations started on that is a good way. If you can't donate directly to us, or I don't know, what else you think, Jackie?
It's really good to educate yourself about charter education. Find some stuff on Google and find out what we're all about, how we operate, because it's good to have a clear understanding of why we took this route. You know, Sage would be a question for Sage that here we are answering, but he would have specific details about that. So you get a chance you can speak with him. One thing I'd like to say is Kokipeshnia, Lako Woglaken, Ospechichenkta. You know, we're all in here to learn about teaching the language, about learning how to do more phrases. So don't be afraid of saying things in your family, to your children. Don't be afraid of saying them, even if you think you're not saying it right. There's nothing wrong with trying it again. There's always room for improvement. And that's why we're here. We're constantly working on making things a little bit learning friendly for our students and parents. So we appreciate the time you took with us. Thank you. Pilama Yaya.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for being here today. I love that you guys are both wearing your mask. And oh, I thought I got signed out. Looks like somebody's trying to sign in. So we're going to go ahead and end the show here. But again, thank you both for being here. You guys are really doing an amazing job. And we've all been looking for the answer to how to reclaim our identity and how to reclaim our language. And you guys are doing the work of, you know, providing a solution for that. So thank you both. And again, if you're watching, we want to do everything we can to help support the school. So it will definitely help with promotion. If you could share this video, if you could, again, host a watch party for 7Gen Live, that will make all the difference for everybody. So thank you all so much for watching today, and we will talk to you all soon.